Hello, and welcome to this video in my YouTube series Breaking Free, where I showcase the progress my pain coaching clients are making while working one-on-one with me, someone who was not only diagnosed with CRPS 10 years ago, but also, after getting out of pain, went on to become a doctor of physical therapy and pain specialist at some of the top hospitals in the country. Now I help people privately through pain coaching and also on my online course, which is an 8-week self-guided program that you can take part in anytime at your own pace, to find their way to remission, just as I have. In this video, I am working with one of my clients, Danielle, and she is doing a fantastic job at identifying what would help her get back to life even while she has pain. She is completing in this video what is called my better document, and there it is on screen for you. If you want to pause it, you could do it yourself. But that document has been really pivotal, not only in my recovery because of myself creating and doing it, but in my client's recovery as well. What it does is it asks you what it would be like a year from now if you were feeling better. And then you go through and you write down not only the things that might make you feel more like you, but also the ways you feel while thinking about those things. And Danielle did a fantastic job filling this out, and informing me of what conclusion she'd come to. And then I go ahead and go through how she's going to get back to those things in a step-by-step process. So I hope this video is helpful for you on YouTube that are viewing this. And if you have interest in coaching or in my online course, self-guided course, go ahead and go to the description down below, and you can either book a consult with me, which is a free consult to see if coaching is right for you, or you can sign up for the course using the coupon I'm going to leave in the description for you. So enjoy this video, and I'm excited to be bringing a lot more of these to you. I have a lot in the pipeline. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks again, Danielle, for the courage in sharing this, and I appreciate it quite a lot. See you guys. There it is.
There we go.
So how'd your week go?
It was good.
Yeah?
It's good. Yeah.
What'd we do? Tell me about it. What made it good?
Well, it was a lot of changes, a lot of
Uh-huh.
scary changes, but that was, it was exciting too. I got out yesterday and played some basketball with Benny, a little
Yeah.
bit of pig, which turned into just PA because he kept making shots and I kept making shots and it was just going on forever. Um, so there was that. The weather was warm, so that was good.
Yeah.
Um, so it was busy, hectic. My husband's laid up with a cast and non-weight bearing, so it's been a busy with that. So
That sounds tough.
yeah.
Well, I'm glad you got out and played basketball. It sounds like you played for a while since you guys were both making it.
Yeah,
Um,
it was probably about 15 minutes at least until I
wow.
had to call it because it was at the end of the day, which is usually my bad time. And I had like my regular PT yesterday. So
Yeah.
with that, which is a long car ride, which is rough. So it was probably by the time I got home yesterday, this was probably at about 5:30, 6 o'clock. So it was late for me.
Wow.
Um and it was starting to get colder. So it was but I stuck through it. So it was and I didn't really have a whole lot of after.
Yeah.
I wore a glove and to keep my hand warm, and but it was good.
Yeah. That's
So
good. I'm super glad to hear about that. That's awesome.
yeah,
One step at a time. And so then we'll be able to this week, the idea would be to go for 16 or 17 minutes.
okay,
You don't necessarily have to time it or anything, but
right,
see how far you can go. Glance at the clock, and then when you come in, see if you've gone a little farther.
right, okay,
That'd be great. And then so yeah, increasing that activity, doing the stuff around the house with the wall if you need to. I got your video of the equipment that you forwarded.
okay,
So I'll work on that today, and I'll be able to get you kind of a program of sorts, maybe for 3 days a week. But you don't have to go 3 days. It'll just have 3 different days of
okay,
exercise that you could do. And let's say you only make it one day, 1 week, you would just have done day one, and then the next time you're able to get to the gym, you can do day two. Does that
okay,
make sense? Okay.
right.
Is there anything you feel like you absolutely couldn't do? Like if you think of an exercise, or that you feel like you would be afraid to do?
Well, I went to the gym the 2 days this week.
Yeah.
And I pushed it, I think, too much the first day. I'm too much of an overachiever.
Yeah, as we
I
are.
so I did 15 minutes on the treadmill, and then I did 2 minutes on the elliptical, and the elliptical that they have is a lot different than the one I have in the house.
Yeah.
It's a lot heavier. I have a hard time gripping things. It's very painful with my right hand, and I get to the point where like it's like excruciating. Like I have to drop something immediately. Like it's just so like I'm really afraid to do anything like weight wise or like like I don't have to drop anything or like whether that needs to just start small or
Yeah.
so I was afraid to do anything besides treadmill. Like and I got back on the treadmill for 15 minutes after that. So um and then I came home and I have really bad arthritis in my opposite knee. So I paid the price drastically
Hmm.
afterwards. And I think too, going from nothing to that was a big
Jump.
step. I kind of thought, well, I go from morning till night every day. So, being on a treadmill for a half hour, I'll be okay. I was wrong.
Yeah.
So when I went back today, I stretched for about 5 minutes beforehand, and then I got on the treadmill for 20 minutes,
Yeah.
and then I stretched for about 10 minutes after.
Yeah.
And I don't feel as bad today as I did. So I think it's maybe just more building myself up
Yeah.
to
Yeah. Yeah. It
to
is.
be active in the gym setting.
Absolutely. And actually this is super common for all my clients. They'll go to the gym and there'll be a level of excitement, ho a lot of hope, and they'll go a little bit farther than they're ready to. But
Right,
that's I always tell them, that's just a learning experience. You might have, you have that and then you go back and you do a bit less and you're like, okay, this is manageable. And
right,
then you'll progress and progress and progress, and then you'll have a day where you get real excited again and you go for extra long. And your body will say, okay, that I felt that because that was new. Um,
right,
but you're feeling about it every time you do it, and every time you go to push and then scale back and push and scale back, it'll get easier and easier and easier, and your body won't react the same
right.
anymore. It'll
Okay,
adapt.
right,
Um, so for example, I have two clients in where are they? North Carolina, and they happen to go to the same high school, but they went to the gym and they did the Stairmaster, and then both of them had, some pain afterwards. And I said, "Look, you're just getting used to it. You'll probably be fine." And you go back again. And then they were complaining in the morning after, and then that night they went to the gym again. They just did
right,
like half the amount,
right,
um, and they were fine. So yeah, you're on the right track. Just modifying as needed, and that's what
right.
it always is. This whole thing it's the KISS method. Keep it simple, silly.
Okay, right.
Um, so yeah, that'll be great. And then
I
how
did
about
think it was great. I'm sorry.
oh, no, you go, you go. What'd you say?
I did think it was great that like I had all this anxiety Monday morning, like ongoing. Like I was very nervous. I was like I prayed about it before I left the house, and it was just like this. And on the way to the gym, it's only like maybe a 10-minute drive. It's very short. When I put the radio on, there was a song on, and like the main chorus of the song, the line in the song is, "It's time for us to more than just survive. We were meant to thrive," and it really like resonated. And I wrote it down, and
Yeah.
I read it like every day now. It's kind of like really hit me. It's like like I've just been you know, surviving. And it just like I want to do more than survive. And so it's kind of like made sure that I read that every day. And it's kind of pushed me then one day. I was like, all right, like I don't want to just survive anymore. Like, I
Yeah.
want to thrive. Life is meant to more than to that.
Yeah.
So I think
Just
it's important. Yeah.
absolutely. Actually, what's funny is in that better or the rise video I have, I don't know if you
Yeah.
remember, but I say that exactly. I say,
Yeah.
you know, don't just survive, choose to thrive. And so
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
that resonates so much.
Yep.
Yeah, you for so long with the pain, what we do is we literally just try to make it through the day.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
that there's no future there. Um,
No.
yeah, so I love that. That's awesome. We're only what this is visit two, and you're making all those connections. That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. It makes me so
Yeah.
excited. Uh,
Yeah.
what about the sleep? How's that been?
It's been good. I decided to implement the keeping the bedroom cooler and darker
Hmm.
with extra blankets. And then also trying to like go to sleep the same time every day, like or try to wake up the same time every day, and then like go to sleep when I like first notice about being tired and that it's been a little bit harder. Like getting up the same time every day is not hard because I have my schedule with Betty in the morning and there's sports on the weekend and church and stuff, so that's not. But noticing when I'm tired and like not fighting through that, that's the one I have to like really recognize. Like, okay, like
Yeah.
that's when. But some of the other ones I automatically already do. Like I can't have caffeine, so that was an easy like not,
Yeah.
um, so that, but so recognizing that every night, like, okay. And I've also been trying to like recognize where it says about like you're most awake, like maybe an hour before bedtime, like
Yeah.
your natural sleep. So I've been trying to like, okay, maybe am I more awake now and trying to like jot that down
Yeah.
and try to pay attention to that to
The
maybe more
time.
recognize like this is when I'm naturally tired and when I should go to sleep.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, that's perfect. And I think that once you start doing that habit, you realize like just how powerful sleeping is for our overall well-being.
Right,
Um, when I was making the online course, I was probably working on it 14 or 15 hours a day, getting the material together and stuff. Yeah, and
right,
I was not sleeping well. And leading up to it, you can probably tell in some of the videos I made leading up to it, you'll see like my eyes are really tired and my whole demeanor is different. I'm excited, but I'm burning the candle at both ends. Um,
right,
but then when you see the videos after that I added after the course was complete, like client videos and stuff,
right.
you'll be like, oh man, he looks different. And that's all sleep, you know?
Yeah,
So that's good. I'm glad you're implementing those. And it sounds like you've implemented or even looked at more than two, or you just had some already done by default with the caffeine, uh,
yeah,
which is
yeah.
good.
And I
Nice.
do have like other nighttime rituals that are like I have medical stuff, like I have to do a brain treatment at nighttime, and like I have Benny's nighttime routine, but it's just kind of like they've always kind of been like rushed. So I'm trying to like kind of slow it down a little bit and like implement them more as like a calming, like instead of like just kind of like blow through them and make them like an actual like this is part of like the calm down
Yeah. Yeah.
part of bed and not just
Just to
blowing
get
through
it
them.
done. Yeah.
Yeah,
That'll be good for Benny too.
yeah, yeah,
I bet you'll find he might be less irritable or more relaxed through that too.
yeah. Me being rushed and high strung in turn makes him rushed and high strung. So
Yeah.
hopefully it translates over to that with him too. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. The best example of that is have you I think we might have done this before, but have you seen a when a kid falls out in public and the mom is there and she goes, go ahead, get up, you're fine. What does the kid do?
Gets up
Yeah, and it's
and
fine.
it's fine. It's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's the mom that the kid falls and she goes,
And
and the
then
kid
they,
then
yep,
cries.
yep, yep,
We have not only is that the case when we're kids and our mom does that, but that's
yep,
also the case when we're older, and I've realized that my dad is very like go with the flow, very relaxed, chill. My mom was the
right,
exact opposite. She was like, I would like there'd be a car coming, like when she was teaching me to drive, she had to teach me to drive one time and then my dad did it the rest of the time. Um, but when there'd be a car that was like not even gonna hit us, it was just like it looked like it was coming fast. Uh,
right.
she would just like grab my arm and just scream. Now the camera's freaking out. And it was just like, man, I wonder sometimes, did I lived my life in that kind of high strung way for a long time,
Yeah,
and she did for all her life.
yeah,
But yeah, resetting that and learning to take some time and relax is a big thing for sure.
yeah. I'm trying to learn that in general because I am just naturally high strung. I was that mom early on. My
Yeah,
husband is not. So I was that mom that was when Benny was little. So when he fell, I was that. And he was like, you got to stop because then he would start to cry. And
yeah,
so once I stopped doing that, he would stop crying. So I stopped that part of it early on, but the rest of me is always like running here and it is translating to him. So
right.
he like now in the morning when he's not ready 20 minutes before school's ready, he's freaking out because he's not ready because if I'm running behind, I freak out. So
Yeah,
now I'm now seeing the error of my ways. And
yeah,
now at 10, he's like that. And I'm like, I got to rein it back in.
Yeah.
because now I'm making my kid this way. So now I'm really realizing how high strung I am.
Yeah.
So I have to fix it for him. Yeah.
Yeah, and that has served you in certain times. Like I think probably being hyper alert is probably helpful for you in childhood or in certain parts of your career. Because
Right.
you're not just born that way. You
Right.
you learn to be that way as an adaptation to your environment. Um,
Right.
I think ADHD is the same way. When you have a lack of attention or you're stressed to such a high degree as a kid,
Right.
you can't fight the things that are stressing you and you can't run away from the things that are stressing you. So what you do is the third option, which is just like freeze, you're stuck. And
Right.
and the only way you escape it is by like having a vivid imagination, dissociating, wandering off in your mind. Um,
Right.
and I think that's, a bit of the origin of ADHD. It's a an adaptation. Um,
Right.
but the cool thing is if you can uh change your environment or calm things down later in life, that changes. And like you said, you feel like you're up here. As you adjust that and you feel down here more, not only does that help with the situation of being high strung, but it calms your nerves, which in turn
Right.
calms the CRPS.
Right. Yeah. And that's the other thing I've noticed. Like if I stop and like kind of breathe, like I need to stop, I need to, then I notice everything else kind of
Calming down.
calms down too. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you're doing it. You're making it. What other things give you calm and peace?
Um, you know, I think my dogs give me peace and calm. Like I feel like if I'm having a hard day or I'm upset or I'm crying, like they will come to me. And just that, like having them
Yeah,
calms me. Yeah. I
yeah,
think that's an easy music tends to calm me. Um, one of my things on my list for my better thing was about gardening because that's something that really calms me. And that was one thing of writing. Like I found myself when I was writing that, like I was smiling. Like it brought me like that joy because that is something that
brings you peace.
brings me peace. Yeah, like being out in nature and the birds and the sun and the like brings me joy and calms me. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
When
even now that I'm like back, even just a little bit back in the gym, like I it brings me back to when I used to be at the gym all the time. Like, and that is once I get out of my own head to get there, like I'm it brings me that calming and that like that me time and that just brings me back to that like and I just feel so much better for the rest of the day. And even after that first day, I was like, what the hell was wrong with you? Why have you stopped doing this for so many years?
yeah.
Like you jackass, like what took you so to go back to doing this? So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Pain tends to do that to us, It tends
yeah,
to take away what makes us who we are. And that's what the better document's all about, is remembering what those things are. So we're back in the gym. When can you begin preparing for more gardening? Or weather wise or time wise, what do you think?
right. Um, as soon as the weather shifts, that the garden can get prepared. Like that's my husband's job. I can't like he has to get the rototiller out. That I can't run.
Yeah.
It's too big and like the vibrations and stuff. Um, it- Part of my um on this list with working with that is my issue with the sun and what I can do around that. Um, and Also with that, with the better thing is um, wanting to be able to not have to plan everything and like worry about the sun shirt and the sun hat and
Yeah.
the sunblock and I mean I know sunblock's important, but like the 15 steps. I can't just pick up and go outside. Like everything is so planned and so like I have to go out before it's real sunny and before it's real hot and I can only go out for short periods of time because of the pain and then I have to like it's so broken and it's so I miss being able to just pick up and go and spend an hour or two or like I want to be able to get back to just being able to if I want to go out and spend an hour I can go out and spend an hour if I want to go out and spend half hour you know what I mean like just being able to just
Go.
go
Yeah.
that
Yeah. So
that I become so schedule oriented like it's a big my husband is complete opposite like he's a pick up and go person. I've always been schedule oriented and this has made me so much more like there's no spontaneity anymore
yeah.
whatsoever There's a lot of that on my list with different things. Like it's everything is so regimented and so planned and so ABCD and
Yeah,
not just
go.
go. Yeah.
I I want to explore the rest of the list, but I want and but also I want to talk about how, maybe we don't have to wait that long for starting to get moved back to the gardening aspect of things. Things that pop into my mind is like, okay, if outside in the sun right now is a challenge or will be, right? Um, you know,
The sun rays right now are not strong. So the sun is not now there's days where it's been like 50s where like in the broad daylight the sun burns a little bit, but I mean I'm still in jacket weather, so I'm
yeah.
okay. Like it's not too bad.
Yeah. Okay, so then that's good. That might be a way to do it. But there's difficulties with gardening from like a nature weather perspective,
Right.
right? Um,
Right.
and so the first thing my mind jumps to is how many potted plants do you have in the house? What do you have indoors that can mimic gardening? And then you
Right.
can moderate your exposure to the sun via windows. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um, I know it's not
I
exactly going outside, but
right. I do actually have we have a sunroom in the back of our house, and half of it is like our entryway. That's like our boots and coats and stuff. And the other half is like actually my area where I have like a little craft area and I actually have um a couch and I have plants. I do have some small plants.
yeah.
They're not much maintenance, but I do have some like succulents and I do have a few like I have like a dill plant for the rabbit and that I feed them off of. And I do have some, it's minimal, but I do have
Yeah. Would you
space.
be open to getting some plants that are a little bit more maintenance that can be
Okay.
indoor in that type of sunroom? Um, you know,
Yes.
I know that sometimes with these plants, you start with a one pot, and as they grow, you have to switch the pot. And that's going to be really nice because what that's going to do is it's going to expose your body not only to
Right.
the sun working in the sunroom, but also to moving the dirt from one pot to the next and lifting and manipulating and trimming, you know what I mean, the plant
Right.
itself. And so I think that would be a good way for us to start, with this better document. The point is to look at it and say, okay, what am I not doing? What can I do right now, even if modified? Um,
Right.
and so, yeah, you would be open to something like that?
Yeah, absolutely. I can also even too, it's a little bit too early right now, with it only being end of February, but I think another month or so, I can even start doing seed. I don't usually do from seeds, but I can even start seeds in the house that'll take a month or so to get,
Ready?
to grow to a point where I can get them big enough to where the animals won't eat them outside.
Yeah.
Once I put them in the garden and start them inside this year to get me started ahead of time to do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'll be awesome. And then that'll start getting you real excited.
Yeah.
And that way you're not just sitting here waiting for the perfect moment, right? We're just going for
Right.
it. Um,
Right.
Yeah, and I think, to speak to your preparation activities, sometimes that preparation is the very thing that leads to some of our symptoms. Not even with just CRPS, but with other things. For example, I think I've mentioned this in some videos, but with gabapentin, if a doctor phrases it with, this is going to make you really sleepy, if you're drowsy, let me know. This is something that happens to a lot of people, and so I just want to warn you about it. But otherwise, it should help. And then there's another doctor who phrases it, very small percentage of people will get sleepy, but don't worry about it. Just continue on, and I think this is going to really help your nerves. And so what happens is my patients, I am in the room with those doctors when they say that because it's like a clinical team that I was on. And those patients will show up the next visit with me, which will be like 3 days later. And the ones that had it phrased to them, it'll make you really sleepy, are saying that they're just really fatigued. And the ones who had it phrased to them the other way are saying that it's really helping. The funny thing about it is gabapentin won't work in your system until you've taken it for, I think, 10 to 14 days. So they show up 3 days later and they're experiencing the symptoms, and it's impossible for the gabapentin to be the responsible. And that's purely nocebo and placebo effect at work. So,
Wow.
so sometimes when we have a ritual where we're preparing for the sun to be bad or preparing for um, something that's going to happen financially or preparing for, something like that, the way our body reacts is more. more has more to do with the ritual and the worry of the preparation than it does the actual event. You will probably still get irritation from the sun, yes, but it is very possible that due to the nocebo effect, it would be worse because of the preparation. So coming down to a place where we can feel more confident in just like going for it, even if
Right.
we're still putting on the sun shirt and the sun hat and stuff like that, I think will be really good. It
Okay.
it's like the other analogy I used. It was in one of my Q&As, but you know, I think it was Amy. She had said that when she starts to get a flare or she feels like a flare is coming on, she'll strap her foot in a boot, like before the flare is even there. And I consider that like if an airplane has turbulence and instead of just buckling your seatbelt like the pilot suggested, you buckle your seatbelt and then take seatbelts from the other seats and buckle them onto yourself also. And then you punch the ceiling and pull out the oxygen mask. Not only are you freaking out, but everyone around you is freaking out because they're like, what did I miss?
Right.
Whereas if you just remain calm, put on the seatbelt and chill, everything turns out fine. And
Right.
so yeah, you get the point. But
Yeah.
that's something we'll work on. So tell me what else is on this list.
Okay. Um, the first thing was being more active with Benny. Um, and when I wrote that down, it was the sadness. I actually started to cry, like for everything that I missed out on.
Yeah.
Um, and again, in that, just being able to pick up and do whatever he had asked, whether it's just being able to play basketball or anything, or being able to play catch. Everything's very sports oriented with him, and not feeling like I had to plan it out. Like just like, and he will take whatever he can get. Like he doesn't ask for a lot. He knows. He's always like, I don't want to hurt you. I don't want you to do too much. I don't want you to, he's very more than very understanding. Um, but I don't want I feel like he's more understanding than what he has to be. Like, you know what I mean? Like he's a kid. I don't want him to feel like he has to, like I want to be able to just say to him, hey, like, let's go do this. I don't want him to be like, oh, hey, do you feel okay? Can you do this? You know what I mean? Like I want to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Um, that kind of stuff with him. Um, and then I also have on there just to be able to do outside things normally, like the outside farmers markets, the festivals, um, that are like in the height of the day, like
Yeah.
where there's no coverings, there's no that kind of stuff that I can't do, but I feel like I'm making everybody else miss out on.
Mm.
And I found a lot of the stuff that I was writing down, um, like I didn't really have a lot of feelings at first. And I kind of felt like with a lot of the stuff that I was numb to the emotions, I think. Like I think I've lived this for so long that there wasn't really a lot of emotions behind it because I just with stuff I went through that I just kind of I think became numb to it. It was
Yeah.
just what my life was. And I think as I kind of realized that, and I think a lot of stuff kind of came up. But I think that also that I've noticed this probably the past 6, 8 months that I think I have like an underlining, like there's a lot of anger in me. And there's like underlining anger that I just am just generally angry.
Yeah.
And I think it comes out in everything. Like, and I think it's tied to the CRPS. I really do. Like I'm very short fused and everything. Like, and I snap at people all the time, and I'm just naturally short fused, and I never used to be that way. But I
Yeah.
really think that that ties to, and whether it's because of the lack of emotion, like I just think that there's just deep rooted anger, and I really think as I started to like to write these things down, like I started to feel more angry. Like there's a lot of anger tied to a lot of it, and I really think that that's where it stems from, like in missing out on these things and not being able to do these things and not being able to experience these things and what I'm holding other people back from and just what I can't do or what I think I can't do or what,
Yeah.
what I'm missing out on.
Yeah.
Um,
There's a not to interrupt what I was going to tell you. That's a really good connection and powerful connection to make. There that is actually something that anger is something actually all of us with CRPS share. And I would even go so far as to say it's not simply just due to it. Sure, it makes you angry, the condition, But I
Right.
would even go so far as to say that anger has been there even before. And I would take it a step further and say that anger, grief, and sadness are the actual root of CRPS itself. And I'm not the first one to say that. There's actually a, documentary done on someone named John Sarno. Have you heard of him?
Um, I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay, so he's written a lot of books about chronic pain in particular. And
Okay.
he identifies a reason for pain. And when I first read his books, I had to put them down several times because I didn't agree with some of the things he was saying. Um,
Okay.
but the documentary, can you guess what the documentary is called?
Anger,
All the
pain.
Rage.
Oh, well, that's
Yeah. And his book, The Mind Body
down.
Prescription, which I'll show you, and I think might be a good one for you to read. Hold on.
Okay.
His book right here, this is the one I hated many times until I loved it. Um, The Mind Body Prescription. This is the only book of probably, I don't know, 300 that I've read that isn't like, it's not a book titled about CRPS, obviously, but it's the only book that's not about CRPS specifically that mentions CRPS and RSD. The only one.
Okay.
And so this is one of the most important books, but I never recommend it until someone comes around to the conclusion that you just made. Because most of the time it'll make people angry, which is ironic.
Right. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think that might be a fantastic one for you to
Okay.
pick up. I'll probably link it after the visit today.
Okay.
But you're not wrong. So to give you a picture, I've had the pain of CRPS, for 4 years. When I got out of that pain, I developed chronic migraine headaches. When I got out of that pain, I developed ulcerative colitis. When I finally made the connection to my emotions and my pain being kind of the same thing, I stopped having all of the symptoms, no more migraines, stopped taking my medication for my ulcerative colitis, and I was fine. But when I was sitting around my house, like even cuddling with like my significant other, things that shouldn't be anger inducing,
Right.
I was seething. Like I was so angry and I didn't know why. And I think it
Okay.
was all just coming out.
Right.
And so that's what this book talks about and helps you with.
Right. Okay. Yeah, because there is things that shouldn't like, and it's even like stuff that's triggering that like really shouldn't be like that. Like, and it's like somebody flips a switch, and it's not like it just solely built. Like it's there, and it just comes out. Like it's
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's why I have a lot of compassion for some people on the online groups. Because sometimes, I'm really trying to help, right? And
Right.
sometimes I will see people angry with me, for trying to help. Um,
Yeah.
and I
I've
feel,
seen a couple of them.
yeah, and I just feel nothing but compassion for them, even though it does
Yeah.
upset me.
Right.
I know that there's anger held inside, and I'm just the place that it's being targeted to, not that I've done anything wrong.
Right.
And so, yeah, I'm super excited for you to delve
Yeah.
into
I'm
this.
going to. I wrote it down. I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very freeing, and the audiobook is pretty good. He reads it pretty well. I think it's him who performs it. I can't remember. Um, but I wish I could have met him. He's gone now. He was 97.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. But anyways, what's next on the list?
Um, being able to take short car trips again on a whim.
Yeah.
Um, without worrying about how I'll be when I get there, or even worse, how I'll be like when I get back at the end of the day, um, and the repercussions of that. And actually writing that down and thinking about that made me very anxious.
Hmm.
Um, like there's stuff that we could do that's like an hour away or an hour and a half, you know what I mean, just to go do for the day. And I just worried about how, and ironically enough, like it's my therapist started in my foot and my leg, but the majority of the issues that I have now are, I mean, like, my foot bothers me a lot in terms of being in a shoe, like comfortably, and that's something that's on my list too. But like, I have a lot of issues with my arm and the back of my shoulder. But like being in a car in a seatbelt and having the seatbelt and stuff on my arm, it bothers me a lot. So being in a car for a prolonged period of time And my husband's solution of just don't wear a seatbelt, like, is not an
Safe.
option. Like, I won't not wear a seatbelt. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
So like that's one of those things. Like I feel like, well, it's something else I'm missing out on.
Sure.
Um, is that um and then and I had mentioned to you about not um being able to pick up and go, like without the sun shirt and all that stuff. Um and there's anxiety tied behind that. And then also being able to go shopping for any kind of clothes or shoes, like not having to wear the same basically five things. Like, because I have to
Yeah.
live in t-shirts and an over sweater because I can't. I'm so weird with textures and um, like there's like a one long sleeve shirt I can wear, and I have to wear it to the gym too because like my arm has to be covered. So like
Mm.
I wear a t-shirt to the gym, but I also have to wear like the silky shirt because I can't. Like the air bothers. Like if it's too cold in the gym, I'm afraid it's going to bother my arm. So I have to make sure again that I wear that too because if I get there and I don't have it, then I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to leave because I can't have the bare skin.
Yeah.
And then with shoes, I live in stupid Crocs
Yeah.
most of the time because it's one, and they're actually now starting to hurt my feet, I think, because my feet are so crappy from being in Crocs all the time.
Yeah.
Um, the rare pair of sneakers, I have no arches in my feet. So then when stuff even touches the arch of the bad foot, it hurts.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can be in sneakers to go to the gym, but it's getting adjusted to the sneaker that bothers me. Once I adjust, I'm okay for a little bit. Um, but it's that hard. But there's no cute shoes. There's no like to be into dress clothes or even not that I dress up for church, but there's you wear sneakers. There's no or I wear Crocs. There's no if I have to go to a wedding, I wear sneakers. If I have to go like there's no um
Dress shoes
that's
being worn.
there's no
Yeah.
dress. Yeah, there's just no
Yeah.
being able to just go and
Yeah. 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 For
like I
sure.
have a closet full of clothes and I wear the same
Yeah.
five things. So it's frustrating.
For sure, it's frustrating. Yeah, we'll work on it. I've already got plans in my head for that. I've got plans in my head for the driving and the seatbelt too. Um,
Okay.
we'll talk about it. What else is next though on the list?
Um, to be able to work out fully again,
Yeah.
to be able to grip stuff and not have to worry about, hurting, to be able to pull. Um, I was afraid to, the first time I put a sports bra back on because it pulled
Mm.
like immediately. And I've noticed that like when I first put it on, and whether this is like, like a sensory thing, it hurts. So like the first 10 minutes I have it on, it's like shit, like I gotta, I take it off, like I can't do this. And
Yeah.
I like breathe through it and like I distract myself and it's like it's okay then. But by the time I get home, and whether it's just I'm thinking about it, whether I'm noticing it, like it's irritating, but like, I'm fine in the gym, I'm okay. Like it's just one of those things.
Yeah.
Um, but as I was writing this stuff down, like I noticed at certain times, like when I was thinking about that, like my arm was bothering me more. Like
Mm-hmm.
as I was, you
Mm-hmm.
know,
Yeah.
and when I was like writing down about the shoes, like I noticed like the arch of my foot was bothering me more. Like it
Yeah.
was that that effect. Yeah.
What's interesting
Um,
is we did nothing physical to you, right? But
yeah.
you were thinking about these things that make you emotional or frustrated. And you maybe didn't notice, but I noticed when you were talking about going to weddings and having to wear shoes, you were shaking, you were
Right.
visibly moving. And that's an anxiety response. And so that's, I used to do that too. If you look at my finger, I have see this little bump here?
Yeah.
My anxiety response used to be chewing my finger like this. And so now that's a permanent reminder on my finger. But it's normal things
Yeah.
people go through.
Right. Yeah. I didn't even notice I was doing it.
Yeah, yeah. And it's because you want to do those things again, that
Yeah.
dressing up for anyone, but especially for women, is like the best thing, having that
Yeah.
freedom to express and things.
Yeah.
So I got some
Like
ideas for that.
I've never been girly, but I like to not, live in t-shirts all the time.
Sure.
you know, so,
Yeah.
and the last thing on my list was like to be able to sit on the couch or lay down and relax comfortably, like to be able to just be able to shut down, like, and relax, like where I can't, like I'm always shuffling in bed because like to prop myself up or to lay down, like a lot of times, like I can't just lay down and stop. Like there's sitting up and adjusting the pillows and laying back down and then adjusting myself and it's like that on the couch too. Like there's no just
Kidding.
to sit down and to be done.
Yeah.
It's that like, I feel like I can't. And it's better than what it was, but it's.
Yeah.
You know, there was a point in time where I was like, I would walk the halls at nighttime and I would be hysterical crying. Like it was so bad.
Uh,
Like when I was like my worst. So it's improved where it was, but like I still can't. Like
yeah.
it takes a long time to get to that point where I can just, and sometimes it doesn't happen at all, where I finally like take my meds and I'm just like, I can't take it anymore. I need to just go to sleep.
Yeah.
But to be able
Okay.
to shut down and just relax.
Okay. So we've got a lot of good things here. I love the way you filled it out. It's a combination of physical things you want to get back to, right? But the emotional meaning behind them. You know what I
Right.
mean? So it's not just be able to sit, it's be able to be in the car so I can go do fun things with my family.
Right.
Um, so here is how we will approach each of these things in small increments, just like we've been trying to do with the basketball, with Benny in the gym. Okay. You've
Right.
already got the gym set up. You're starting to go. I will make sure in this program to help get your grip confidence back. And we'll do things at the gym that involve two hands most of the time.
Okay.
We're doing upper body, and we'll use cables because if worst case scenario, if you have to let go, you can still just hold with the other hand and let it come, the cable come up or slowly go back down. Okay,
Okay.
so you'll do a level of weight with two hands that will be manageable. So I'll make that program for you. And we can modify as needed when you go try it, right? The next thing, the to help with the grip, I'll show you. One second. And you'll come across these in module 4 of my program online.
Okay.
But you'll get these Serenolite that you don't have to get this brand, but they're grip balls, training balls, right? And with one hand, the hand that's bothering you, you'll use the lighter one, and with the other hand, the hand that's not, you'll either use the more firm one, and you'll squeeze them both at the same time.
Okay.
Okay? And if you can't tolerate squeezing something, you can just mimic squeezing, but do it both at the same time. This is a
Okay.
combination of grip training and desensitization and quote unquote mirror therapy because we're mirroring from
Okay.
side to side.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the grip thing. We'll get some training balls like that, and you're always doing a harder weight with the other hand.
Okay.
You're teaching the other side that it's safe to do
Okay.
that much. Um,
Okay.
so there's that, and then and I'm gonna don't
I
worry.
even noticed like if I'm folding wash, like I can't get through a whole load of wash folding it. Like my hand starts to like it just aches and hurts so bad that by the time I'm done, I can't even hold like the wash when I'm done. Like I
Yeah,
start out okay, but like halfway through, I'm like it just is like it's shot, it's done. And it's like that with anything, like with washing dishes, with like it just
yeah. Your body's interpreting the sensory input in that area of your
yeah,
body as something like overloading. You know what I mean? And so yeah, the more that we work on the gripping with two hands, um, the more that you work on even just doing those activities like that, that's desensitizing the system. And if you have to break it up into parts of the day where you're doing it, like I would say, do this grip thing for like 2 minutes a day, or sorry, 2 minutes a day, three times daily.
okay,
Okay, and I'll send you a link to these, and I'll send you a summary of that. But
yeah.
that's one, and then the next thing to address some of the clothing difficulties. One second. This is something I actually came up with completely on my own. Um,
It's because you're a genius.
I wish. So we've got kinesio tape. Okay. This is like athletic tape of sorts. And the
Okay,
nice thing about it is this tape is usually doesn't bother people's skin. But what you will do is I'm going to open this so I can show you. Since you have this clothing problem, what you'll do is you'll start first on an area that's like not too bothersome, but like a little bit on whichever
okay,
side of your body. And you'll take a small strip of the tape. So you'll rip off a little small strip and you'll place it somewhere that's not bothersome on your body first and set it there and leave it there for like 30 minutes and then
Okay.
take it off. And as long as your skin is not, red or itchy or anything like that, then you're good to go. That's just an allergy test. Usually this tape, people have no problem because they designed it that way. So that's just an allergy test. Then once you've taken it off, and by the way, to get it off, you're going to use soap and water. That's the easiest way to get it off. Otherwise,
Okay.
you'll be giving yourself a waxing every time. So for you, you specifically mentioned the bra strap. So what I would suggest is maybe on the side that's not bothering you, take a piece of tape and put it like this. And you can start smaller. You don't have to do like a big piece like this, but I would put
Okay.
it here. And then on the side that is bothering you, I would do the same thing. I would have it here. And you
Okay.
leave that on for, as long as you can tolerate. It doesn't have to be the whole day or anything. Maybe it's 20 minutes. And
Okay.
then you take them off.
Okay.
And so, and then when it comes to the hand or wrist, same thing. What I would do is I would tape it like this. That way, everything you do throughout the day is giving feedback, pulling on the skin, and that is allowing your body to get that information and desensitize again with something kind of, benign like this.
Okay.
Um, you don't have to use the full strip when you get this tape. I'll send you the link. You can cut it in
Okay.
half. You can even make it like this big and just put it on your wrist, or this big and just put it here.
Okay.
No matter what you do, you're giving it more information, and that's the point.
Okay.
Okay, so that's what this tape would be for. And I think that'll help with the clothing aspect. And then with the car, that gets super intuitive. So depending on where you live, why don't we start with a small drive around the neighborhood and back home?
Okay.
Even just like as if you're getting ready to do driver's ed again. You just go out, you go drive for 2 minutes. You might feel silly. Your neighbors might be like, "What's going on?" But or she forgot something in the house. That's what they'll think. But you just do that. You just do a loop, come back, and then that's kind of like testing the water, dipping your foot in. And
Okay.
then the next day you do two loops, or you go a little bit farther. You go to the gas station down the street, get a snack, and come back.
Okay.
But yeah, that's it. And you could make that fun with Benny. You could be like, "Hey, you want to go get some candy?" Just like go to the store and come back. Um,
Okay.
that's a good way to start. So there you go. That's taking the better document, which you filled out perfectly, and taking everything and making it as simple as possible, the KISS method, and
All
getting
right.
started.
Okay. Perfect.
Sweet. Do you think that feels like a solid plan for this week?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna send you the link to the book, of course, and then
Okay.
next week we'll delve into possibly what and where the origin of this anger might come from, and I think that'll be interesting to explore.
Oh boy.
That's what everyone says.
I can't wait.
It'll
I'll
be
bring the
good.
tissues.
Okay, yeah, yeah, they'll be needed. I
Yeah.
um awesome. I think this session went super super well.
Yes.
I'm really encouraged by, the things you're noticing and the progress you're making already. I was going
Thank
to
you.
ask you if you're open to it. You've seen in the course, I feature some of the people taking it and doing the coaching in the course. You've noticed that, right?
Yes.
Would
Yes.
you would you be open to being in module two, which is the better document, which we just went over today?
Absolutely. Mhm.
Awesome. And then
Absolutely.
the next thing I'm going to ask, you don't have to say yes to this because I know this is a little bigger since it's not just people in the course. But would you, in an addition, be open to, and I can block the name there, would you, in addition, be open to being on my YouTube as one of the breaking free videos?
Absolutely. Anything
Awesome.
that's going to potentially help anybody, 100%.
You're the
Yeah,
best.
100%.
I
Yeah, and I don't.
appreciate
You
it.
don't have to block the name. It doesn't matter. Yeah,
Okay.
100%.
Okay,
Hmm.
well, sweet. You're the
Yeah.
best. I'm so excited, and I'll get you that workout hopefully later today to give you some
Okay.
ideas for the gym. Okay.
Okay. Perfect.
All right. I'll see you next
All
time.
right. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Danielle. Have a good
All
one.
right. You too.
Bye bye.
Bye.